Hi guys, it's Penny Rose Journals. How you doing? I'm fine. It is at the moment the first day of my holiday time. I don't have to work now for a good couple of weeks, so I'm pretty excited about that. To celebrate, I thought I would make some collage masterboards, which is one of my more favourite things to do. As you can see, the substrate I'm using here is the backs of 12 by 12 paper pads. I have a few of these still floating around. I often use these or the covers for exercise books as backing for my collage. As you can see, I use the white side. It's primarily because some of my paper here is slightly transparent. I didn't want to have to deal with having to cover up what was on the background. So, of course, the back will need to be covered if I'm going to use the masterboard parts later, if I use them to make cards or tags or something. But if I need to use them for pockets or whatnot, I won't have to worry about it. So I leave the backs blank for the moment. And I'll just cover them as need be. So I haven't followed these masterboards through. I just completed them and they've gone into my stash. So I have a box with masterboards in it in my cupboards. So this is just adding to those. I like the neutral ones. It's just handy. You can decorate them up as need be. If you need colour on them, you can add colour. But yeah, they're good for a number of things. So excuse me there, I had to have a drink. Right. Yeah, like I say, I'm using the neutral pages, the neutral bits of paper that I had left over from the last few days doing a few projects. I had the scrap sitting on my desk and yeah, for some reason it was just calling to me. I'm not really very good at focusing on one thing at a time, so stopping and making collage masterboards is not unusual behaviour. I like to jump from one thing to another. Usually I only have one journal going at a time, but I will have many projects, like the collage masterboards or making tags or just stamping material or whatever grabs my fancy on a day-to-day basis. I don't like to be stuck doing one thing for an enormously long period of time. So just using glue stick to stick all of this down. That's quite sufficient for a collage, I believe. So I'm using some music paper here. I just cleaned off my my glue book page because the music paper is very brittle. I stuck it down on a sticky page to put glue in it. I was likely to tear it into pieces, so it's quite brittle. It's not of any use for anything other than sticking down, unfortunately. I really don't like ripping apart music paper, which is a little ridiculous, but being as mostly I rip paper or rip books apart for everything I do, but for some reason music paper is the most difficult for me. But this particular music paper, although I've had it in my stash for about 2 years and it's taken me this long to break into it, it is very brittle and I can't use it for book pages, journal pages or anything, because it will just crack in half if I fold it. So yeah, I'm learning to use it as I go along. It's funny how some things are difficult. Don't understand it myself, but yeah, there you have it. It's actually surprising that music paper is the most difficult thing for me. My mother was a librarian. Her career was in the library, and I'm pretty sure she would consider what I do blasphemous. She doesn't say much about it. I guess as long as she doesn't see it on a day-to-day basis, she can deal with it. But yeah, I don't think she understands how I could pull a book apart. But yeah, admittedly, in the beginning, it was difficult. I was taught to have a great deal of respect for books growing up, and spent many a weekend, covering library books and stuff with my mother. But yeah, since then I've thought about it a bit, and realised how many books are really just out there mouldering away in secondhand stores, or ending up in landfill, or in boxes in people's garages, and nobody's getting any joy from those. So yeah, I feel like it's not such a terrible thing to pull them apart, utilise them, even if it is just for a glue book. In the end of the day, I'm creating something out of them that somebody will enjoy along the line somewhere. So I don't feel bad ripping apart a book these days. And to be quite frank with you, a lot of my more favourite books to use that I've purchased have literally been falling apart. So yeah, you can't feel too bad using a book that literally has pages falling out of it as you pick it up in the thrift store, because yeah, the chances of some other person wanting it and enjoying it and using it are quite slim, I imagine. Yeah, at least this way I get to showcase a few pages here and there to bring other people joy. So I do end up doing about 4 of these masterboards. I have done at this stage. I may do more. I didn't bother to film all of them. I figured it would be probably a little tedious to watch a person do 4 masterboards. It wasn't until I recorded this that I realised exactly how long they take. I think YouTube videos have really opened my eyes as to how long I actually spend doing what I do. Yeah, I love what I do, so it doesn't faze me. It doesn't seem to be a long time that I spend in my craft room, but yeah, when I'm putting together a video and editing a video, I realise it took me an hour to do that. Nobody wants to sit there and watch me for an hour do that. So yeah, it's quite time consuming, and I don't think I realised exactly how time consuming it is until I started videoing. So yes, like I say, I did 4 of these. I only filmed the one, and I have sped that up for you. I do show you some of the others, and yeah, they, as I said, I think I said before, they have really no purpose right at this point. They've just gone into my stash with all my other masterboards. It's just something I like to do when I'm just feeling like at a loose end. I always find it's a bit of a struggle sometimes. You've got so many things you should do that you don't really want to do. Doing collage is always one of those things I can fall back on if I'm not feeling particularly creative and I'm struggling to find the energy to actually create something purposeful. collage is always a good idea. So I'm just about finished this one. As soon as I finished it, I will show it to you in entirety and then move on and show you a couple of the others as I finish them up as well. There's the second one and the third one. And the fourth one I forgot to record. So yes, once I finished making all of them, I went to my stash and pulled out some printed ephemera. None of this is actual ephemera, it is all just reproduction. It's stuff I've printed out, just on copy paper mostly. It's old train tickets and advertisements and business cards and the like. So it just fit that sort of neutral palette that I was working with, so and gave us a little bit of extra interest. I will probably cut these masterboards up from the back so that I don't know where I'm cutting them. So it's unlikely that any of those pieces will end up in their entirety on anything, and that's okay. I don't mind that. In case you were wondering what that odd little noise was before, that's my quail. I have outside my window a canary aviary with 3 canaries, and I also have 11 quail, and yeah, the little boys, that's their little crow. So I get eggs each day, tiny eggs, but eggs all the same. So I enjoy them boiled more often than not, or my dogs get them as a treat and they enjoy them also. So moving on to another board here. After I had done what I show you here with the first round of ephemera, I actually went back and added another few pieces of ephemera to most of the boards, which I didn't film. Yeah, again, I meant to. But somehow my ability to hit record becomes impaired as the day goes by, apparently. So who knows? But yeah, when I stood up at the end and checked my phone, which is what I record on, yeah, it was all blank. So it's a work in progress. I'm sure you see enough in this video to help you understand what it is that I'm doing anyway. It's I'm sure you all know how to collage, and I am by no means a master at it. I'm pretty sure there's other people out there who are much better at it than I, and many videos on the internet to show you how. As my last step for these particular masterboards today, I decided to spread some acrylic white paint on them to just soften everything down into the background. So a lot of people would use gesso for this. I don't have any gesso. I have a big bottle of white acrylic paint, so I use that. I'm not really using it for the surface tooth. I'm just using it to blend everything together a little bit. So yeah, just see me dipping an old card into it and just scraping it on the surface, and I do that for all of them. So that little palette, in case you're interested in, that I'm using there, is a couple of panes of glass with a sheet of newspaper in between them, just taped to a piece of cardboard. So yeah, it's a homemade palette and works really well. I used to use a lot of picture frames in my artwork, and mostly I discarded the glass, so that's what I used to do with it, was make palettes. I've got some quite big ones which are really handy on occasion for things, but that little one's great to have on my desk. So I went to Japan a few years ago with my daughter and brought back a Japanese newspaper with me, so I used a piece of that in there, so it's nice. It's a bit of a reminder every time I use it. I enjoy that. So as you can see, I ran out of paint just now. I'll show you the bottle of paint when I put some more out on the palette, so you can see what it is I use. It's Chromacryl, just white acrylic paint. That's a good student grade paint. And a local art store here sells it in quite big bottles, so they actually sell it in a 2 litre bottle as well, but yeah, I think that might be a bit of overkill. Which for me honestly is astonishing, because like my daughter would tell you, I buy everything as bulk as I can get it, but yeah, I figure a litre bottle of paint is quite sufficient for me. So alright, well there you have it, that's them. I used up the rest of that paint, just spreading over a couple of book pages. It seemed like a good use. Obscure a couple of book pages, they'll be lying around for my next journal or my next collage board. So anyway guys, thanks so much for coming along with me today. It's been a pleasure to have you here. I enjoy collage, I'm sure you do too. Here's the end result. Thanks. Bye.